I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, September the 30th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin is a telithromycin injection, basically a generic Draxin, and to learn more about how Macrocin compared to the Pioneer product in big trials, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards in Carthage, Missouri, they're going to start at 6 o'clock in the morning here on Monday for the regular feeder cattle sale. They are expecting about 5,500 head of cattle, so it should be a good sale, and I would expect that it'll be higher after the fat cattle market gained quite a bit of ground last week, and the board was very friendly last week, and everybody's just coming up and up and up, even though we've got a lot of balling calves and things, but should be a pretty snappy sale. You can view that sale and bid on that sale at DVAuction.com. Don't forget, Joplin's going to have a big special cow sale coming up on Wednesday, October the 2nd. They've got about 1,000 cows consigned for it. Be very good quality. Got some dispersal deals on there. And then they're going to have several good breeding bulls from local seed stock breeders there, guys. If you need one, get a hold there, get there, find out more about them. Be at the sale on Wednesday at 4:30 in the afternoon after their regular weigh-up cow and bull sale on Wednesday, or get on DVAuction.com and buy it there. Buy straw hats, and it's the last day of the month, Punchy Pick contest, so we're going to name the winners of that. But talking about buying the straw hats, get off kilter with everybody. People always say buy your straw hats in the winter time. Buy them right now in the fall of the year, then just stow them away until it comes spring, and then you've got them bought. But what I'm talking about is just got to get out of the same practice with everybody else. This last week, we saw 4-weight steer calves sharply higher, even the ballers. But 4-weight steer calves, that's what everybody wants to turn out on wheat. That's what everybody wants to background. A lot of guys will turn cattle out on wheat, and then when they come off the wheat, then they'll turn them back out on grass somewhere, and they want the steers. But it's, comparatively, it's not as good a deal. You can get away from that. You can buy a bigger calf for the same price per head, and you can definitely buy a heifer calf a lot more reasonably and a lot cheaper. And I tell you what, you get these heifers backgrounded and sell them in big bunches, it's the same deal, and it just doesn't take as much money. But everybody, of course, whenever they're buying something to grow, they want to buy a 4-weight steer calf, and it's not a good deal comparatively with the other cattle that are out there. But the market really showed strength last week. I mean, gained dollars and dollars in your fat cattle arena after we had turned the tide and gained some the previous week in your cash fat cattle. So that's a big deal to have two weeks in a row there where we gained ground. And it kind of hit us all of a sudden. It was a pleasant surprise there. Happened mid to late week there. We were kind of thinking, or most of the industry was kind of thinking, well, we'd probably, get steady. Money for fat cattle, maybe steady to $1 higher here and there, and then all of a sudden Thursday morning, first thing, they just jumped the bids up there a couple bucks and bought them all. Apparently they needed the cattle. They bought several cattle in a negotiated manner, but not really that many more than they've been buying. They bought them mostly on Thursday and didn't buy that many more on Friday, so they're still sitting at about same place that they normally are, but the price is higher, and that dictates the price of everything. Like I said, the board's been very friendly. We're going into the fall of the year, and it's just surprising just about every day to see the board supportive. Not a big jump, but a little bit higher. The thing is, when it gets ready to take it back, it'll take it back in hunks. But we got to just be happy with where we're at. Over the weekend, I was out in Fallon, Nevada. We had a good feeder cattle auction special for September out there in Fallon at Nevada Livestock Marketing. We also had the Trump rally and the Trump auction, the Trump roping. We had all that out there over the weekend. I told you guys several times about it as it was coming up, but it was a success, and we probably didn't have near as big, or we definitely didn't have near as big a crowd of spectators as we did 4 years ago when we had Don Jr. there. But we had several people from the Conservative Public Conservative Public Action Committee, yeah, CPAC, and we had a good rally there, and the auction, the non-cattle auction, was way better than we had 4 years ago. I bet we had 30 semi-loads of hay donated, and they got sopped up readily. A lot of really cool items there, sold really, really well. And then we went inside to the sale barn and sold the cattle that were donated for Trump. Those cattle sold on the market, and all the proceeds went to the Trump campaign. We had several people that sold cattle at the feeder cattle special on Friday, and if they wanted to donate one, we just averaged one off. And so that worked out better too than trying to sell one head the following day. But we appreciate everybody that contributed to it, everybody that took part in it, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. We sure need to get Trump in there, guys. It's the last day of the month, and it's time to award the Punchy Pick of the Month winner. For the last many times we've been recognizing the Kids Corral, because we get a lot of kids in there and we like to recognize them. Start out with third place in the Kids Corral. It's Zeke Rodriguez. Zeke sent a picture of Andy here. He's helping his dad brand on the Eddings Ranch, and in this picture Andy is not yet 4 helping his daddy brand a calf there. So I thought that was a pretty cool pic of Andy there, and we thank Zeke for sending that in. Second place in the Kids Corral is Brandon Smith, and typically I won't put in for punchy type picks things with show calves, but I like this one predominantly because it had the Trump banner in the middle of it, and it came from the New Mexico State Fair, and we need to be advertising Trump in New Mexico, because that state has turned blue since I grew up there. That was a red state at once upon a time, and now it's turned blue. But Ike and Rhett and Natalie here, Smith, and this is and Natalie took her senior pictures there at the New Mexico State Fair, and I just thought this was a pretty cool pic, and with the lighting and everything on it, I thought it was good enough for second place in the Kids Corral. The winner of the Kids Corral, which we really don't have anything, but you get bragging rights. Sent to us by Mike and Bobby Harmon, and this is off the Harmon family farm, and that's in Trinity, North Carolina, and we're glad to have them. They've got these 3 gals here. These are North Carolina gals, Fallon, Sarah, and Lydia, and they bet these gals that they couldn't tag and band a bull calf there that needed some work there, and they said that they'll never bet that they can't do anything again, because they absolutely got her done there, and cute gals there, and they did a good job. Now we're going to talk about the Punchy Pick of the Month contest, and I always recognize the top 3, and the winner gets all the goods. But third place in the Punchy Pick of the Month contest is Scott Christensen from the Lazy Sea Ranch in central Utah. He was preg checking cows there, but he noticed that his forehead stayed awful clean when he wore his hat while he was working. I would be more like thinking the other way, that, God, your face really got dirty, but no, he was surprised about how clean his forehead was. But I thought that was a pretty punchy pic of a pretty punchy looking dude there, and I like that pic. Second place in the Punchy Pick of the Month is Jay Smith, and they were preg checking, and he said they had a local day worker there. It looked like probably a roughie that showed up there in his rag top, and of course had the saddle there on the trunk of the rag top. He showed up there to help, and You know, they were a little bit doubting, you know, what he was going to be able to do when he showed up, but Jay said he ended up making a hand, and he was glad to have him. But that's a pretty punchy picture of that old ragtop car there, and it just reminds me of a kind of down on his luck bronc rider or somebody going down the road. But the winner of the Punchy Pick of the Month contest is Cameron Bigelow. And this horse, one of his buddies come out to help him there in the Brandon pen, and his buddy's horse got spooked from something or another. And anyways, he reared up on him, but he said his old buddy there stepped off that horse, walked away, and didn't get hurt. But take a look at that picture. When you're thinking punchy pick, I tell you what, that is pretty much the epitome of a punchy pick. And that picture came to us from Amarillo, Texas, right close to home there. Cameron's going to get all the swag. He's going to get a huge box delivered to him. And Cameron, you're going to get more stuff than you know what to do with. You're going to get all kinds of swag from Beaver Feed Company in Beaver, Oklahoma. The Beaver County Stockyards, which you may want to do some business with, not too far from Amarillo there. You're going to get stuff from NationalBeefWire, from the Feeder Flash. But the most important, the best part of that grand prize is the whole case of Fair Piece. And, you know, it's not tagged to work on horses, but you might want to put some on your buddy's horse there next time you bring him in to do some work. So thanks for everybody for participating in the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. We are always doing that. The ones that just come in over the weekend, I noticed several come in because I reminded you, they'll automatically be entered in this coming month's Punchy Pick of the Month contest. So let's talk about your board for last week. October live cattle futures. Monday was up 77 cents. Tuesday was down a nickel. Wednesday was down 15. Thursday up $1.05. And Friday down 35 cents. And with your October live cattle ending the week at 183.75. Not a huge basis, but the market come up so much it ended up being kind of a basis there. But that 183.75 on October live cattle was $1.28 higher for the week. December ended the week at 184.47. That was up $1.27. October feeder cattle, Monday was up 27 cents. Tuesday was up $1.32. Wednesday was up 22 cents. Thursday was up 90, and Friday up 15. The spot feeder cattle was up every day last week. And October ended the week at 247.07, up 2 1/4 for the week. November was up $1.80 at 245.70. Your grains, December corn ended the week at 418, up 16 1/4 cents a bushel right during the start of harvest here. Your beans for November, 1065 3/4, up 53 3/4 cents. Big gains there, especially late in the week. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December ended the week at 576 3/4, which was up 12 3/4 cents a bushel. So that was your futures there for the week last week. Let's talk about your fat cattle trade brought to you by Legacy Beef Cooperative, guys. It's a heck of an opportunity on an investment there, and look into it. You may want to do that. Let's talk about your fat cattle trade last week. Up through Thursday of last week, we had sold 56,900 head negotiated cattle in your 5-area feeding region. Your prices ranged from $184 to $188 live basis, and that was $2.5 to $7 higher than the previous week. Your weighted average on live steers in the 5-area negotiated was 186.09, up 208 up through Thursday. It may change a little bit, probably going to get just a smidge higher because we had some more trade in the Northern Plains on Friday. But dress sales ranged from $290 to $295, which was $2 to $2.5 higher. Your dress steer weighted average negotiated in the 5-area was $293.49, up 308. As a whole, your market in the Southern Plains was $2 higher at 185. Northern Plains was $1 to $2 higher live from 185 to 187, and $2 to $4 higher dress from 292 to 294. Now we did see a little bit more trade on Friday in the northern plains and in the Midwest. Iowa sold 700 head, but still less than 19,000 for the week, and they've been selling more than that. I don't know if Iowa's just kind of short on cattle. They didn't get in there and dig as hard or what, but Iowa sold less than typical, even on a light week here. But live sales in Iowa on Friday, 185 to 187, and dress sales at 294. Nebraska sold 500 head on Friday, 26,800 for the week. Live price at 186 and dress price at 294. Didn't have any negotiated sales confirmed in Kansas or Texas on Friday, but Kansas had sold 7,800 for the week and Texas had sold 4,500. Box beef cutout values down pretty hard, and it's seasonal pressure here, but it's amazing that we're able to gain ground in our fat cattle and our future stays good and everything with the wholesale beef markets going down. But your weighted average on all of last week's choice cuts down 294 compared to the previous week's weighted average at 298.98. Your late or Friday afternoon sales were another $1.70 lower than that weighted average at 296.69. Your select sales, all of them together, the weighted average was 284.48 last week, down 571 compared to the previous week's weighted average. And your late Friday or Friday afternoon sales of select was another 240 lower than that weighted average at 282.08. Your choice select spread on the weighted average was $14.50, all that based on 661 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Your slaughter last week, pretty decent. I mean, we're running lighter slaughter, but it was hanging right with them. 612,000 estimated cattle slaughter last week through Saturday. That was 2,000 better than the previous week and exactly the same as the same week a year ago. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states ended the week at 246.65. That was $3.16 higher than the previous week's, the end of the previous week. And your latest CME cash feeder cattle index at 245.53, just over $1 cheaper than that. Cash feeders in your auctions last week, your feeder cattle going right into the feed yard, and especially the ones coming off grass sold really well, but a lot of backgrounded big feeders too, but they sold $2 to $4 higher all over, and you could see that from your real-time index change. Calves were very uneven. Of course, as I mentioned at the start of this report, 4-weight steer calves were sharply higher everywhere. That's just what everybody wants, but gosh, how hard would it be to just step out of the way that, go to another class and start building on them and save a lot of money. But your unweaned calves, of course, it's that time of year, they're discounted heavily, and unweaned fleshy heifer calves, severe discounts on those guys. How about some big quotes? How about your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day for Friday was Burwell Livestock Market in Burwell, Nebraska. Been broadcasting with DVAuction for a long time. Around 3,000 head for the feeder special there. Look at your best tested weights. There were 339 head of 7-weight steers in Burwell. They averaged 772 with a weighted average price of $265.18. 436 head of 8-weight steers averaged 846 at $251.69, and 617 head of 9-weight steers, Burwell, Nebraska, had a weighted average weight of 917 and a weighted average price of $237.63. Look at a couple groups of heifers, a couple of weight groups of heifers that were well tested. 500 head of 8-weight heifers averaged 860 at $234.64. And 422 head of 9-weight heifers averaged 940 pounds at $226.93. Some individual quotes from all around. How about out in Fallon, Nevada at Nevada Livestock Marketing on Friday? They had their September feeder cattle special. I actually got to auctioneer this group. It was 4 sets of 40. We gave them the option of buying 1 load or 2. Of course, they bought the whole deal when they bought them. It was 160 black heifers, good condition on them. They were lightweight yearling heifers there. Weighed 607 and bring 244. They sold on DVAuction.com there, online bidding, and they went back to the east, guys. How about St. Ange Livestock, St. Ange, South Dakota? 61 steers, weighed 851 at 259.50. We mentioned Burwell, their whole report, but how about a stick out sale from Burwell, Nebraska? 56 steers, weighed 507 at 340 and a quarter. Guys, that's what fancy 500-pound steer will bring in the sand hills of Nebraska up there on the yellow brick road. You might want to step off of there some one way or the other and cheapen up. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere late last week or over the weekend in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day come out of Fort Pierre Livestock Auction in Fort Pierre, South Dakota. It was 72 steers, weighed 800 pounds smooth, and bring 267. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.